Good afternoon, everybody. This is Michael Crotty, managing partner with G9 Financial. I'm here with our other managing partner, Dan Girard. Today, we're here to talk about the college selection process. Dan just dropped his daughter, Louisa, off, his first off at school, and recently went through basically a 1.5 to 2 year process of figuring out where she was going to go and ultimately dropping her off. Dan, how did that go, dropping her off?
Well, Mike, to be honest with you, hi, everyone. Dropping her off, we were, at the end, we'll get to it, but she's a freshman attending Ohio State University in Columbus. And the best way I can explain it is, as we're dropping her off, saying our final goodbyes, before we head to the airport to fly back to Massachusetts, it was like someone stole my bat and ball. You get a little bit emotional, more than you think, that you're leaving something that you've cared and cherished for a person for the last 18 plus years, and you're leaving her in the middle of America. So it was a little bit difficult, to be honest, but she's doing well. She's been here almost a month now, and she's thriving and enjoying college life and doing well in school.
Awesome, great. And the reason we're talking about that today is many people think advisors help with the college savings and ultimately paying for college, which we do. That's a big part of what we do. But most people don't realize that really impassioned me around creating a college planning process for our clients is that the ultimate school they pick can have a big impact on what they actually pay in that college selection process. So Dan, how did that start for you, Rebecca, and Louisa, your daughter?
So Louisa, she did very well in school. She worked hard. She's a hardworking student. She really grinded out some great grades for herself and a great high school career academically, and really came to us and realized, and Louisa's fiercely independent. So independent where if I said, hey, Louisa, you should check out Ohio State, she would have never checked out Ohio State. I'm sure some of you parents may have that experience also. So knowing my daughter, and for both my wife and I, and when COVID hit, we weren't sure what to do or how this was going to go. So in April and May of 2020, I guess we'll go now, COVID hits and school's all up in the air, and we're not sure, kind of the college exploration process was cut short. I didn't know where to go. And Mike, you started this kind of college planning practice within our firm a number of years ago, and it not only focused on obviously paying for it, but also helping find it and develop some resources. So I'm like, well, if we have clients going through that process, maybe I should personally too, so to understand it. So we used an outside firm for college counseling that we reached out to, and had this conversation with them and said, hey, I have a daughter here who I think may be a good fit for this process, and let's see what it looks like. So initially, we did myself, my wife Rebecca, and Louisa did an initial consultation with the managing partner of that firm, and they asked a bunch of probing questions and what Louisa's looking for and what she wants to get out of it and what mom and dad want to get out of it, and then from there he matched her up, my daughter up, with a counselor, and Rebecca and I made the choice to not participate in those counseling workshops that Louisa did all through Zoom. She would meet once or twice a month with her college counselor, and that counselor gave her ideas, gave her homework to do research on schools, asked her probing questions of what Louisa wanted to get out of her college experience, and through that process kind of led Louisa down a road to check out schools that met the criteria she was looking for.
Awesome. And so in those schools, you've obviously mentioned she's at Ohio State now. Was that on her radar for being the first choice? Did that completely flip? How did that end up working out for her?
Sure. So Ohio State initially was not on her radar at all. Schools on her radar were the University of Rhode Island, which is a place she did apply to. Her very first school initially, our first school visit we did her junior year in high school was Rensselaer up in Troy, New York, RPI. We visited, amazing school. But as Louisa and I left there, she realized that's not the type of environment she wanted to be in, although that school they changed the world at that place. So it's like, okay, COVID hits and we're not sure where to go or how to go about it. So based on the criteria Louisa gave or what she wanted for a college experience, they gave her homework of looking into Ohio State, Miami of Ohio, Indiana, schools in California, University of Washington, University of Wisconsin. And then there were schools down in Virginia to look at. She looked at all these schools online and then kept narrowing down her focus of where she was going to apply to. And that's kind of how Ohio State, based on her criteria of being a big school with a lot of school spirit and good athletic programs and things of that nature, where is how Louisa kind of got some of these schools on her radar screen and eventually applied to about 8 different schools and within that kind of arena.
Awesome. And the last piece is obviously us being advisors. You obviously knew how you were going to pay for school. You had a plan for that and have done the proper saving. But the financial part of that school selection, how did that come into play? Because I think as we talked, she ended up at Ohio State. They weren't the best benefactor in terms of money, but it ended up being the right fit for her. But I think you had other schools that had other packages that might have been a little bit more enticing. How did that process end up with you and the counselor and looking through which schools might be the best fit for that? Because I know that what people don't know is each year it can change based on your child, what that looks like.
Absolutely. So based on, we go through that process, and for example, RPI, which Louisa again did apply to, they gave her, she was fortunate enough to earn some merit awards because of her academics. Again, and what I would say is, for those of my kid won't get that, my kid will get that, who knows? You got to ask. Don't assume no, is one thing I will say. Don't assume no. We go through that process. RPI gave her a hefty financial package, but she knew that that wasn't a school that was right for Louisa. Louisa did not want to go there. University of Rhode Island, again, gave a nice merit package, but she knew she wanted to be kind of further spread her wings outside of New England. So we ended up really in the Midwest of Ohio State, Miami of Ohio, Indiana, and Wisconsin, were the 4 primary schools Louisa was choosing. She applied to them all, got into them all, including University of Washington. And then her and I did a road trip to check out each school and to get the flavor and feel, because I was not sending her to a school for the first time come August of 2021, and she's never stepped on campus. That's one thing I did not want to do. But we applied first, then went and visited the schools. And as we did that, actually, Ohio State was our first school visit. It was during COVID, and you couldn't really get a tour. But we made our own tour, and we were there for 6 hours. And we kind of knew that they weren't on the docket because they didn't offer any merit awards at the time. Miami of Ohio was very aggressive. I loved the campus. The campus was the town of Oxford, Ohio, where the school sits. I believe it's Oxford, Ohio. Then drove down to Indiana, in Bloomington, Indiana. Great school. Again, in a kind of small city. Drove up to Madison, Wisconsin, and Louisa fell in love with that place. Big city, beautiful campus, really loved it. So we get back from our trip and realize that she really wants to go to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin did not offer any merit award. And lo and behold, about a week and a half, 2 weeks after our trip, she was fortunate enough to receive a merit award for basically in-state tuition from Ohio State. And looking at those and comparing them both, they're both very similar in school size, school spirit, being in a city. She, again, did not like Miami because Miami of Ohio was the town. She wanted to be in a bigger city than that. So as her and I had that difficult conversation of, hey, Dad, I want to go to Wisconsin. And I'm like, unfortunately, Louisa, the financial advisor in me, let me show you how math works of not getting a merit award and getting a merit award. That was significant. So she changed her mind and moved over to Ohio State. And once that settled in, she became super excited about going to Ohio State and what Ohio State was all about academically, school spirit, and the whole experience.
Awesome.
She really was. She was super excited. She met her roommate online through Facebook groups that when I went to school, I never had that choice.
No.
You didn't either. You just got thrown in a room with a person. But she kind of embraced it, went through it, and that's really how we ended up Ohio State. It was a combination of them giving her a significant attractive merit award versus her number 1 choice. from a financial standpoint. And we gave her carte blanche. Hey, apply any way you want. And then at the end, we'll figure it all out, what makes the most sense. And that's kind of what we did. And through the process, the counselor helped her kind of narrow down where to go. The counselor also had that one-on-one conversation with her about finances, because when dad says it versus a counselor saying it, it was a little bit more impactful. I got to be honest. Again, my daughter's fiercely independent. And they helped her with her essays. They helped her, again, guiding her through the whole process. It really removed a lot of internal tension with my family to use that college planning process to help figure out the school, which made it really enjoyable for our entire family.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. This has been hugely helpful. I'm obviously aware of how that process works, but knowing that you went through that, obviously your daughter ended up where she ended up. She's happy. You're happy. It obviously cost a few dollars, but it pales in comparison to the overall cost of college nowadays.
Nice.
So it's a small investment into that big decision for the family. Remove the tension. She's at the right school. And I think that's what we're here to help with. So,
and this process, isn't right for everyone. It's not right for every student. I'm not sure I go through that process again for my other two children, who's a junior and a freshman in high school. But for Louisa, we 100% felt it was the right fit and the right process to go with her. And then we'll be evaluating my junior in high school as we go throughout the year here.
Good. Awesome, Dan. Thanks for the time today. And obviously, if anyone needs some more advice or resources, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help in any sort of way.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Perfect.